take a look at a bit of my bio, okay? What did you notice is different between the first two speakers' bios? Very, very simple.
You're a lawyer.
All right, other than that.
You run a company?
Run a company, work for myself, what else? Very, very simple. You're overthinking.
You're an author.
Say it again.
You're an author?
Author? Let me give it to you. I'm not in HR.
Yeah.
All right. So my perspective is going to be a little bit different because I'm not in HR, and I thank Judy for having some contrast there. And I'll be taking a look at it from a standpoint from outside of HR, outside of the space, but helping work inside the space. Does that make sense? And I'm also going to be looking at it through the lens of my son, Dwayne Bennett Jr. All right? And that's DJ in his freshman year. And one of the things that we want to point out is in terms of how we are looking at the conversation, how we think about the conversation, we're talking about trends in terms of 2020 and beyond. So when I look at DJ in his freshman year, I'm thinking about the workforce, what's the opportunities for him, and what will be the trends as we go along in the best case scenario. Does that make sense? Now, so DJ on his freshman year, as you can see, he looks a little confused, right? You know, he's like, what am I doing here? What's happening? And the thing with DJ was, he came from a different city in a different state into a new school. And when he was in his freshman year, he didn't have many friends. He didn't go out a lot, and he wasn't really, and this is a great term to use, he wasn't engaged in his school and in his culture. So when we had a conversation with him, going into the end of his freshman year, I was like, DJ, you know, what are the things you like to do? And he rattled off some things. And after we had a conversation about those things, then we thought about the school that he was in. It was like, well, can you expand, can you grow, can you evolve from looking confused, looking scared, and having no friends until this person here in the senior year. Right? So DJ, he started as a freshman, right? You see that confused look? You see I don't know what I'm doing? And then you see the confidence, you see the stand, you see the dress. So what happened was we figured out a way to look at DJ's his thoughts, his wants, his aspirations, and there were three, and how could we work through and align them, right, with the things that were at the school so we can work out a win for DJ. And when we looked at those things, what we saw was DJ, he needed to be, and I don't know if he wanted this one, was he had to be intellectually excellent, right? It came from his dad. You know, how can we achieve that? Also, DJ wanted to have friends. He was a very friendly young man, and he wanted to get involved. So how can we achieve that? And then DJ was really fast. He could run, and he could play football and soccer all his life. So how can we achieve those things within this environment of the school? So what we did is, in terms of his intellectual pursuits, was he scored high enough to be in honors classes, advanced placement classes. So we moved him along, right, from here, and we're trying to get to there, okay? So we moved him along, and in terms of his sports and the things he liked to do, but how can we move him along in that area? So we got him involved in what? He was fast, so we got him on the track team, and we got him to play football. So that put him right there. And then in terms of, you know, want to make friends, then what was the extracurricular activities, and he got involved in those things. So as we see, we wanted to align what DJ needs and want his aspirations with what the organization was, which in this case happened to be the school, and we were able to make a win-win for DJ, and now he's excelling, he's transcending, he's in the Navy now, and he's doing some great things. Everyone with me?
Yes.
Now, how do we get DJ from, when did you graduate? In 2017,
I think.
2017? That's the number, right? I can get that. I'm telling you.
One job.
You graduated in 2017. How do we get DJ from 2017 and to continue his involvement to 2020 and beyond within this space, within the place of work and in terms of engagement? How do we do that? I love the fact that Joy gave the evolution of work. Okay, and I think the evolution of work, if we lay it on top of the evolution of employee engagement, I think we're in the exact same place. So it's great, we didn't coordinate this, but it was awesome, right? That she came with that introduction so we can kind of lay on top of the evolution of work with the evolution of employee engagement. Now my spin is what? I'm always looking from the standpoint of the employee. Okay, how can we do this best for the employee? How can the employee expand, grow, reach their goals and aspirations? So, back in the day, what do employees need to work? I just need what? I just need a plow, right? I just need a horse and a buggy, and I can work the land. We move from utility to productivity. What do employees need to work faster? You know, they started the advent of cell phones, computers, and those things. We evolving. And look at how we can make our employees so happy they perform better. That's where we are right now, in the engagement. And I like the fact that when we talk about employee engagement, there's a difference between satisfaction and engagement. Because that 50% that's not engaged, guess what? They're happy. They're satisfied, right? They're doing just enough not to get fired, right? Just enough to keep the boss on their back. So it's not, we're not talking about happiness or satisfaction. We're talking about performance really from the standpoint of the company, but in terms of how can I be engaged as an employee, then what are these things you're looking about? Looking at goals, aspirations. We talked about the, I like the last one. What was the last one Mr. Stephen? You had
agility and changing over time.
Agility and changing and over time. I think Joy mentioned personal development and those things. So for DJ, as he moves along his life, how can he get from 2017 to 2020 and beyond? And I think Joy, I'm in between also, but we're moving towards what? The employee experience, right? How can we create a company where people want to show up versus need to show up? How can we do that? And if you look at human nature, we all want to be at a place where we receive, right? Where we feel comfortable, where we can really grow, we can get to the next level, and the things are there. So we're moving from the engagement phase to the experience phase because, have you ever heard of, there's a war for talent? HR was talking about it all the time. There's a war for talent. You know, we got to get the best people, we got to get the best qualified people. So now, what do? We or DJ as a prospective employee, what does he do? He interviews the company. He's thinking about, does this company align with the things that I want? And you remember when he was in high school, right? He wanted to get more friends. He wanted to, from his dad and his mother, he had to be intellectually sound, right? And he always wanted to engage in some activities. So now he's trying to think of that, and he's trying to look at his life and experiences in that way when it comes to employment, when it comes to work. Does that make sense to anyone?
Yes.
Okay. So, now, because we've already had the statistics laid out and two presenters did a great job, I thought this thing through and I said, for a perfect world for DJ, if he was entering the workplace, how could it look like in 2020 and beyond from his perspective, but in terms of also looking at the company, what can they provide? And I thought about that, and what we're seeing now in terms of companies, we're talking about companies trying to attract, right, the best employees by doing what? Being purposeful. We have these purposeful companies, and they're starting to look at some things. I want to be very intentional about that. Let me read a few things that the purposeful companies are looking at. They're trying to hire employees that align with their purpose. Okay, because if we have, remember DJ was in high school, if the purpose that he had and the purpose of the school, where they could come together, then he could transcend where he was. So these purpose-filled companies, they're hiring not necessarily on technical ability, but does the employee align? They're also looking at things about, do you have managerial potential? Can you help the company? Can you evolve as a particular individual? And this is the key. When we talk about attraction, now you would start to read articles about the company. They're trying to create goodwill. They're doing things. When we talk about Starbucks, Starbucks, you remember Starbucks shut down the whole company for a day. Because what? They wanted to change the perception of the bad publicity they were getting. So they shut down the company based on we as consumers not seeing it in a good light, so they can change some things and what? Then they can attract the better employee. They can tell us that they have a better employee, and now they can get a better what? ROI. That's what it's all about. Does that make sense? Yep. So DJ, he's looking for some things, and the company is putting out these feelers to attract him, but DJ is also putting out some feelers to attract companies to him. what are we doing now? We're applying to job boards. We're having recruiters. We're having other people go for us, do our talking. Like I said, the millennials, what about the network? So both of us, both of the employee, prospective employee and the company, they're trying to attract each other and they're looking for these points of alignment. Does it make sense? Now, we're moving along in a perfect world. Wow, now we're at the interview stage. When we talk about we're trying to attach. And with the interview stage, has anybody interviewed lately? You all know. It's usually a panel. Usually with one-on-one person, you have to impress that person and look good for that person. But now, a lot of times, it's a panel. There, you do more than one interview. You can do video interviewing, things of that nature. So now we're trying to attach and find out, are we aligned? We're looking at the purpose from the company. DJ saying, can they do these things that I want from me? Can they help me move along? Can they help me create more opportunities? Can they help me make more money? We have that at the interviewing stage, and now both sides say, I think it's a good match. So what we do, we attach, we're onboarding, and now we're inside the company, okay? Now that we're inside the company, this is what DJ's thinking. He's saying, there's usually 3 categories that all employees look at in order from their standpoint. One of them is what? More opportunities, right? They want to be promoted. They want to be promoted really fast, right? Really quickly. And at the end, ultimately more money, okay? That's changing a little bit, the bottom one, in terms of more money, because we brought that out in the slides, but there's other things in terms of satisfaction we're looking there. But most employees, they are looking for those basic things. Now, in terms of alignment, since we have the purpose-driven company, now it's really up to the company to do the things that they said they were going to do, okay? When I was working for the insurance company, this is what they told me. They said that, well, I left on a Friday. I had 25 files, right? I left on a Friday, and I came on working for an insurance company, and I came back on a Monday, and I had 425 files, right? I'm like, okay, 25, 425, that's good for me, right? So this is what they told me. They said, Dwayne, if you hang in there, work overtime, come on the weekends, do all the things that we need to do to get these files down, then we're going to do what? We're going to give you more opportunities, right? We're going to promote you, and you're going to make more money. It wasn't exactly like that, right? So what companies have to do, they have to really lead with integrity, really follow up on their end, and they have to do the things they promise in order for DJ, who's in this last group, to keep them from walking, right? Because you think we break 25 files in on Friday and then 425 on Monday, what? Jen is like, okay, I'm leaving on Friday, but I never show back up on Monday, right? Because what? The company, I was trying to align with the company, and they didn't do the things they said they should do. So DJ is thinking, okay, what should I do now? Let's give the company another chance. How can we do that? Taking the action that we talked about as we move from engagement, as we move to the experience. And when we look at the experience, thanks for the fantastic leading for joy, these are the factors, right, that the employee likes to work. They like to be involved in these things. We talk about diversity, equity, inclusion. We talk about just being coming to work and just being comfortable. Just being comfortable in your own skin. And if you hadn't figured out right now, I'm a black man. Did anybody figure that out right now? Okay. And I've worked in corporate America. And a lot of times in corporate America, and I'm making a generalization, I didn't feel comfortable because I didn't see a lot of people that looked like me. I didn't have a lot of friends. I couldn't relate sometimes to the TV shows that we watched, all of those things, and I felt uncomfortable until I discovered Seinfeld, right? Then we got along. When we talk about the space of culture and those things, then, we want to feel comfortable at work, and we always talk about, we want to spend a lot of time with that. The technology. Most of the time, again, you hear the same stories, you get hired, you go in, and the first thing you do, you get there, and then what? The computer doesn't work, right? So DJ's like, it's Friday and the computer's not working. What I'm going to do on the weekend, Dad? Hopefully, you coach us something back. I might be like, hey, man, keep it separate.
It's not easy.
It's not easy, right? So then the physical space, DJ, he doesn't want to be inside because when he's athletic, he likes to run, he likes to do certain things. Does the company have those type of programs in order he can participate in? Does he have any flexibility with those areas? Because again, DJ is trying to He's trying to continue his growth and continue to move along. And in this war for talent, we have to really, really take a good look at what the employee wants. Does that make sense? All right, all right. So that's the employee experience, and these are things that go into the employee experience. Now, transcendence. What is transcendence? You like the slide? All right. What is transcendence? If we can get that alignment between, and we talked about this a little bit, between the company goals and the employee goals, and then we get the alignment in both sides now, the employee does have to show up. They do have to work. They do have to do some things. If we can get that, then when we hit that 4 to 7 year mark, when most employees are thinking, hey, it's time to go, these are not meet my goals, then because we created what? More opportunity, because we had DJ promoted faster, he's got more money. Now we can transcend the old model of the employee leaving to the employee staying, and now we're going further than we ever could go before, moving from what? Engagement to the employee experience. And now, not only does the employee love it, the company loves it, our eyes up, and everyone happy. Is that a good story? Yeah.